DreAllDay.com. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk about the Western Conference Finals. First, let's go back through what's happened so far in the Western Conference playoffs, talking about my predictions from the first and second rounds, and then we'll get to who's going to win and represent the West in the NBA Finals. First of all, Rockets beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 4-1. I'm glad the Timberwolves made the playoffs. They got Coach Tibbs in there, made the playoffs. Karl Anthony Towns did not have that great of a series, so hopefully he looks at what he didn't do well in that series and gets himself better for next year, because the guy is a stud. He can play. I think Timberwolves and NBA fans know that. Andrew Wiggins, I don't know what we're getting out of that guy. As athletic as he is, as long and rangy as he is, he does not grab rebounds. He doesn't get steals. He doesn't pass. Only thing he does is score points. That's all Andrew Wiggins does. And even though scoring points is the object of the game in basketball, well, the object is to win. There are a whole lot of other things you got to do besides score to help a team win. And him being so physically capable, the fact that he doesn't do those things has to be frustrating for a coach or a teammate or a fan of the Timberwolves. I don't really watch the Timberwolves, but I see his stats and I'm like, how the hell is this dude so athletic? He doesn't do anything but shoot. And he doesn't even get to the foul line that much, given his athleticism. So Andrew Wiggins somebody needs to talk to that guy and get him to revamp his game, his overall game, not just scoring points. OKC against the Utah Jazz. I wrote about Russ in the daily game after they got eliminated. OKC's not going past the first round if Russell is just dominating the ball the way that he is. He might average a triple-double for the next 2-3 seasons if they just keep running the same type of system that they've been running no matter who else is on the team. But they're not going anywhere. They're not beating anybody with one guy just dominating the ball that way. The NBA is just too good. When you get to the playoffs, the teams you're playing against are too good. They got too much time to strategize and playing against you for one dude to just dominate the ball and you still win. Other players have tried this. Russell has taken it to the furthest extent that it can be taken to, and it's not working. So hopefully the OKC brain trust figures out a way to alter that system. They sit Russ down and talk to him, and hopefully Russ himself has a heart-to-heart with himself, looks in the mirror and says, okay, I averaged a triple-double. I proved my point. I can do it. Now let's win some damn basketball games. I mean, they won. They made the playoffs, but they're not beating anybody, not with that system. So hopefully Russ has a heart-to-heart with himself, because he has to give in to whatever the system's going to be for them to go any further. That's not working. I don't care if they got Paul George or not. It's not working what they're doing with Russ dominating the way he does. Carmelo's coming back with that $28 million. I heard Carmelo say, and I wrote about this in a separate daily game, that Carmelo said he ain't coming off the bench. He was like offended by the fact that someone even brought it up to him that he might come off the bench. Carmelo should be coming off the bench at this stage of his career, but the guy has a lot of pride. He don't want to come off the bench, and that's actually probably what OKC's problem. They got 3 guys with a lot of pride. Remember when Paul George, they were playing the Cavs last season, and who was it? CJ Miles missed the buzzer beater shot, and Paul George said, I told CJ I got to take the last shot. And then he ain't do nothing on no last shots the rest of the series. He didn't make any the last game of this series. I don't think Paul George should be the #1 guy. He should be a #2 option. He's like an overqualified #2 option. Great #2 option. But it was the ego talking when he did that. Carmelo, his ego said, I won't come off the bench. Russ's ego is, I got to average a triple-double and get all the stats, and then get mad when somebody asks him about chasing stats. And he definitely chases stats. But enough about them. They lost in the first round. Portland against the Pelicans. This is the one I got way wrong. I thought Portland was going to win this series. Damian Lillard has been on fire the last 3 months, or had been on fire the last 3 months of the regular season, but his fire got doused by Rondo and Drew Holiday. Didn't see that coming. Anthony Davis, we saw that coming, but even with Anthony Davis, I thought Portland would beat them, but yeah, obviously not. Portland kind of reminds me of the Toronto Raptors. They're like the Raptors of the Western Conference. They got 2 good players who are very good, and they're paying them a lot of money, but they're not going anywhere. If those are their 2 best players and they can't add anything around them, they ain't going anywhere with that team. Either CJ or Dame probably has to go. If that team's going to go anywhere, those guys got to go. Now, if they just want to keep making the playoffs and losing, maybe win a round and then lose, they only won the round because Chris Paul and Blake got hurt last year, so I don't really count that. They want to be like the Raptors. They can keep that team, but they need to change something. They need to make a big change. Not a small change, but a big change. San Antonio Spurs lost in the first round to the Golden State Warriors. I mean, the Spurs are the Spurs. Kawhi didn't play all season. I really would have loved to see Kawhi just show up for the playoffs and then the Spurs give the Warriors a scare. That didn't happen. I don't know if Kawhi's coming back to the Spurs. We don't know. Kawhi doesn't talk. Spurs organization usually doesn't talk. Kawhi is still under contract. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with him? It'd be great to see Kawhi come to the Sixers. That'd be perfect. But I'll keep dreaming until that happens. Second round, Houston beat the Utah Jazz. Now, the Utah Jazz have a really good team. Donovan Mitchell is a stud. I think everybody knows that. The rookie thing. Since I'm from Philly and I'm a Sixers fan, he did the whole with the shirts, a rookie, and Ben Simmons not a rookie because they had a year to get ready. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck all that. David Robinson had 2 years after he got drafted before he played in the NBA. He was in the Naval Academy, and he won Rookie of the Year. Blake Griffin got injured playing in the preseason, or whenever it was, Summer League or preseason, for his rookie year. Sat out the whole season, came back, won Rookie of the Year. Ben Simmons is going to be a similar situation. So Donovan Mitchell, as far as that part goes, the fact that Donovan Mitchell tried to change the conversation to Ben Simmons is not a rookie tells me he's waving the white flag on the topic of who was the better player between Ben and Donovan. He was basically waving the white flag. Oh, Ben's better than me, so I'm going to say he's not a rookie because that way he can't win. But he should have just been saying, look, I was the best rookie, period. I don't care who else you compare me to. I was the best of all the first-year guys. Instead of saying that, he changed it to he's not a rookie, which he knows he's not going to get changed. So it kind of just became, like I said, he waved the white flag on that. But Donovan Mitchell is a stud. He's going to be an all-star probably next season. And so is Ben. So shout out to both of those guys. But Ben Simmons is the Rookie of the Year. Utah Jazz has a really good overall club. They ran into a team that is trying to reach their destiny, the Houston Rockets right now, and we're going to talk about them in a moment. But Utah will be a force to be reckoned with moving forward. If they had Ricky Rubio, they might have been able to get them a better series. New Orleans got beat 4-1 by the Warriors. New Orleans, I mean, did what New Orleans could do. Now, they don't have Boogie Cousins, who hurt his Achilles and been out for the season. Imagine what kind of team they had. You put Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis together, Drew playing the way he did, Rondo playing like playoff Rondo, and them going against that Warriors team would have been, I would have watched all those games because it would have been such a contrast in styles where you got a guy like Boogie and AD together against a very perimeter-oriented team like the Warriors. Would have been a very interesting series if nothing else, especially with a guy like Draymond trash talking, and I'm sure Boogie would have got into it with whoever on the Warriors. That would have been an interesting series. I think Boogie will come back to the Pelicans. I think he will, but he might get to. It's hard to say with a guy who's injured, but I think it would be interesting if he was able to get in shape again, get back to himself, which might take a whole other season before he's really Boogie again. Achilles is tough to diagnose, like how soon is going to be you'll be able to come back, if at all. But I want to see those two guys together. But AD by himself, it looks pretty damn good. So I wouldn't be mad if they traded Boogie or let him walk or whatever the situation happens to be. Now, we got the Houston Rockets against the Golden State Warriors. First of all, the Houston Rockets knew that they needed another piece. James Harden ran out of gas in the playoffs the year before, or was it 2 years ago, or maybe it was each of the last 2 years, whatever it was. He ran out of gas. They knew they needed something to give James Harden a breather, a break, where he could still be James, but not have to do it so much that he would get tired when it most mattered, like the playoffs. So they went and got Chris Paul. And Chris Paul turned out to be, and sometimes it seems like when you get a player gets traded and they both are like ball dominant guys, you're like, how's that ever going to work? Same thing we thought when LeBron went to Miami with Dwayne Wade, but they made it work. They made it work pretty damn well, these two guys together, because they can both play off the ball. They can both handle the hell out of the ball. They both are great passers. They are both great one-on-one scorers. They're both great at running the pick and roll, and they both really see the game at a level that the average basketball player or fan, even in the NBA, does not see the game. So it's worked for them. Daryl Morey put together the perfect overall roster to make this work. And I got to pull up their roster so I can see exactly who we're going to be looking at playing in this conference finals, series. Here we go. Houston Rockets. So you got, first of all, on the wings, Houston got a lot of wings who can play maybe a couple different positions, whether you're talking to like a shooting guard or a small forward or even a stretch forward position. If you want to even call them positions anymore, you know I got a workbook on what position should you play. It's at hoophandbook.com/position. So you got guys like Gerald Green off the bench, Ryan Anderson, who I'm not sure is going to play much in this series because the Warriors are going to attack him and he can't guard anybody they got. So I'm not sure we're going to see much of Ryan Anderson, even though he has a cannon as far as shooting. Gerald Green, Luke is back, Mbah Moute. You got PJ Tucker, who's like the defender guy, who you'll probably see a lot of him on Kevin Durant. You got Trevor Ariza. Tell me why. Trevor Ariza playing on the wing, can make those threes. They got a lot of wings. And that's pretty much what you need in the NBA these days, right? Athletic wings who can guard multiple positions and can make threes. That's pretty much what it is. Be athletic, be able to guard multiple positions, and be able to make threes. And Houston Rockets got a bevy of those guys. Then you got to have great ball handlers who can find those guys, break down defenses, then find those guys. Harden and Chris Paul. So they got like the perfect NBA hybrid type of style roster that works. I mean, the Warriors got the perfect roster. Let me be clear. Warriors got the perfect one. Houston has the next perfect one. That you have, if you don't have a magic wand, you get what Houston has. If you got a magic wand, you get what the Warriors have. And Clint Capella, who has proven himself over the last few years coming off the bench. Remember, he was backing up Dwight Howard. Now he at the one regular season win, he said they're better than the Warriors. I think the Warriors remember that. I'm sure Draymond Green will let Clint know about that when he makes a big play in this series. Clint's a great set a pick, roll to the rim, finish layups, finish dunks. Don't care if you get post touches. Just play his role perfectly. And he has great chemistry with James and Chris Paul. He's been a great fit with what they have. And because of his presence, I think you probably won't see much of JaVale McGee, Zaza Pachulia, or actually, excuse me, Jaja. We got to call him Jaja Pachulia after he injured Kawhi on purpose. And he fell into Kevin Durant's knee last year and fucked up my fantasy season because I had KD last season. So Jaja Pachulia, we ain't going to see him. David West, we may not see much of him either, simply because Clint Capella is so rangy. I think he will play those guys off the floor. I don't think any of those big guys can really do what Clint does and kind of cancel him out on the other end. Maybe you'll see some JaVale, but I'd rather the death lineup of the Golden State Warriors. And we already know what Chris Paul and James Harden can do. We don't have to talk that much about them. We'll talk about them when we get to the comparison. Golden State Warriors. What do we need to say about the Warriors that you don't already know? Andre Iguodala. They got this death lineup, or the Hamptons 5 is what I heard they call it. Iguodala, KD, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. That's a damn good lineup. Now, looking at the rest of their team, the rest of this Warriors team is not really that good. I didn't really, now that I'm looking at it, they're not. Kevin Looney, nah. David West, nah. Quinn Cook, nah. Sean Livingston is still, he's a good backup. Sean Livingston can come in and give you 10 to 20 minutes of solid backup, not mess anything up. So Sean Livingston, I give Jordan Bell, meh. JaVale McGee, yeah. Zaza, yeah. Nick Young, yeah. They don't have that great of a team outside of the starting 5. But in the starting 5, they might have the best starting 5 in the whole NBA, maybe in the last 20 years. So it's kind of like the same thing I said with the Cavs. They don't have a great roster, but they got LeBron. Warriors don't have a great bench, but they got this starting lineup. And this starting lineup is pretty damn good. You got 4 All-Stars here and a Finals. You got 4 All-Stars and a Finals MVP. I don't think you can get any better than that when you talk about a starting lineup, unless you're talking about the Team USA or the damn All-Star game. Kevin Durant is the X factor for this team. It's funny calling Kevin Durant an X factor because he's far from a role player. But the fact that he joined this roster that was already a championship roster is like the piece that you, not that you forget about, but like the piece that is like you factor for everything. All right, this is how we gonna guard Steph. This is how we can neutralize Klay. All right, we know what Draymond's gonna bring to the table. Oh damn, now they got the second best player in the world, Kevin Durant, on the team, who can score 40 any given night, who can shoot from just as far as Steph Curry can shoot, who will come and dunk on you, who will block shots, who can grab 10 rebounds, you can get a triple-double without thinking about it. This is going to be an interesting series to watch. All right, I don't have to tell you why the Warriors are good. I just told you what they got in their lineup. I still think the straw that stirs this drink is Stephen Curry. It's not Kevin Durant, even though I think he is the best. I think Kevin Durant's the best player on the Warriors team. You just laid them all out, say who's the best player? Kevin Durant. But who is the most valuable to this team? It is Stephen Curry. When he's there, they're the Warriors. When Kevin Durant's there without Steph Curry, they're still very, very good, and Kevin Durant will give you 35. But when Steph Curry's there, they become something that nobody's seen in the NBA, in the history of the NBA, and that's why Steph has those 2 MVP trophies and those 2 championship trophies. This is going to be an interesting series for several reasons. Number one, you got James Harden going against this Warriors team now with the best version of the Houston team since he's been in Houston with this carnation of the roster. So he's got everything they said they needed to compete against the Warriors. They got it. They went and put everything together. They got the right players at the right time. Everybody's healthy. They're ready to do their thing. They got Chris Paul, who has lost to the Warriors in the playoffs, him and Steph Curry is no love lost between those 2 guys. They go at each other hard, Chris Paul and Steph Curry. That's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. You got whoever they're going to throw from the wings, whether that be Gerald Green, Luke Mbah a Moute, PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza. Tell me why. Trevor Ariza, all those guys trying to guard Kevin Durant. So they got to figure out who's going to guard Kevin Durant, who's going to try to contain Kevin Durant, because nobody's going to stop the guy. Whew. The pick and roll. I guess you're going to see Draymond maybe on a guy like Clint Capella. How are they going to handle that pick and roll? Because the Warriors, despite the team that they have, there's no player in the NBA who can stay in front of James Harden off the bounce. That guy has mastered timing. He's mastered the balance. His little change of speeds, change of pace, getting to the rim, drawing fouls. That step back where he takes like 5 steps or like 2.5 after he picks the ball up and is legal. You can't stop that shot. You can't stop him getting that shot off. So I don't know. I think James Harden's going to go off in this series. I think Kevin Durant's going to go off. I think Chris Paul and Steph Curry are going to try to kill each other. I think Draymond and Clint Capella is going to be an interesting matchup, and whoever wins that is going to swing a couple games in this series between can one guy stop the other guy from doing what he does to help their team. This is going to be this is one of those stay up late series. These games are going to be starting at like 9 o'clock Eastern time, which I hate because I like to go to bed early and get up early. So I might miss the first couple games, but if it sounds interesting, I might stay up for some other games in this series. My pick: Houston Rockets against the Golden State Warriors. As much as I want to see the Rockets win, I want to see a team beat the Warriors in the series and beat them just fair and square, just beat them. The Warriors have too much talent. They have way too much, even though this year they kind of like sleepwalking because they've been to the finals, 3 years straight, 1, 2 out of 3, even though this is only second year in a row for KD. I think they just have too much firepower. I think with a healthy Steph Curry, this team is as close to unbeatable as it gets in the modern NBA. I wanted to go 7, so I'll say this is a 7-game series. Game 7 in Oracle Arena in Oakland, because Kevin Durant, because Steph Curry, because it's at home, and because they are a championship pedigree team. The Golden State Warriors win this series in 7. I think this will be a very entertaining series. It is, I will call it must-see TV, but I know I'm not staying up late to watch all these games, at least not the first couple games of the series. This is going to be good. I think both series will be good, but I'm going to go with the Warriors in 7. I got the Cavs in the other series in 6, if you didn't see that other video. So here we go again. Warriors against the Cavs in the finals. I'm not excited to see the Warriors against the Cavs in the finals. Again, so maybe one of these teams will make my prediction wrong. I don't think it'll be Boston. Maybe it'll be Houston. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Don't bet any money on any of my predictions. If I really believed it that much, I'll bet money on it myself. But I don't like betting on things that I don't control. So that's that. That's my pick. Let me know what you think about everything I said about the Western Conference, about the teams that got put out and eliminated, who you think is going to win this series, how many games, why they're going to win it, and any of my assessments of players, if I left anybody out, if you think I disrespected a certain player because I didn't say enough good stuff about him, let me know down here in the comments. And make sure you get your predictions in before the games begin. Do not come in here after game 1 talking about, like, if Houston win game 1, like, oh, Houston's going to win. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Make your predictions before the first game. All right, no bullshit. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Enjoy the conference finals.